Fast that rascal down here.
For the ladies, yeah. Not very many common people call it pet up with a button.
No, that was quite famous here.
We're going to rotary valve.
Yeah, push valve.
Well, I think mine is almost identical to this.
Oh, is that right? It's been here a good while now. It's a good while, but nobody ever found what identified. I mean, Huck was in here. Always, I know I can identify that part.
You can put them side by side with mine. Could go on down here. What is this?
Rapid passage is real
They're very difficult. Yeah. Let me go out and get some tools, and we'll make. I have them. We can make first valve and second valve work. Now there's one small danger.
Was this a specific type of board?
Yes, I brought.
So you say about 1820?
I think a little later than that.
A little later than that.
So the pocket is a very important tool.
Grand Terrace pot.
I couldn't get along with that.
Me either. That's
See what I have to do. This little piece has to lift out.
oh, that's the drum part there.
Seals it. I'll tell you what I didn't bring. I might have to use the hammer after all. I don't think so. Either need built. Stay there. I'm going to mess up my tie no matter what. I'm going to take it off. You won't tell, will you?
No, I won't tell.
Are you receiving sound on that?
Sure,
Well, we have to take off my tie so I won't get oil on it.
that's right.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
It also feels good.
Feels better too, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes. And so Adolf Sax,
We call him Sax.
Sax, is
Yeah.
a Belgian.
SACH.
And
S-A-X.
S-A-X.
Every time he invented an instrument, he put his name on it.
Hmm.
Now I'm putting the oil on here, and then putting it in, and that will distribute the oil in here without putting my fingers inside it.
Okay.
Anyway, every time Sax made a new instrument, he put his name on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sax horn. He also invented sax trombas and saxophones.
No, yeah.
Don't be done.
Now, we've got the oil in there. It's all right if I mess this up?
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is a little later than 1820, you think?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Was probably invented, first one made between 1850 and 1855. His first instrument was the saxophone, and it was 1842. Now there's some argument on that, a year or two difference, but I don't think it's that critical. And he made the saxophone in all pitch ranges, from the tiny soprano sax to the giant contrabass sax. In fact, I've only seen two contrabass saxophones, and one of them we put a little boy inside the bell and took a picture. It's that large.
Whoa.
And then he made this sax horn in all pitch range. Not all sax horns have the over-the-shoulder bell. It's a sax horn because, I'll just have to show you it's good, because it is continually conical tubing from here all the way around, except where the slides operate, and it wouldn't be practical, and where it goes through the valves. Now this, I am certain, is identical to the one I had, and I've taken micrometer measurements all the way around, and it is continually expanding. And that's one of the identifying characteristics of a sax horn.
And it plays over the shoulder because the troops marched
The
in the
troops
back.
were at the front of the parade. I mean, the band was at the front of the parade, and the troops were behind the band. And they even made the trumpet, the pitch of a trumpet, the very small ones, over the shoulder. I've never seen one of those except in museums. And my own
So
city.
you had your own scissors? Oh, you're fully equipped.
Okay, now we want to do the hard part.
Now that is stuck in there, isn't it?
What?
You're trying to free that valve.
It is. It's all right now.
It's all right.
Yeah, I oiled it and cleaned it, and I just had to sit there and spin it like I'm doing now for a while to get the oil distributed. And you see it has stops, so it'll turn the right distance. Now I've got to, I don't know which way this goes. Excuse me, but I got to make a noise. I believe it's lined up. You see, if the places cut out in the rotor portion don't line up with the openings in the side of the valve, it causes an aberration, an interruption of the airflow, and makes it out of tune. Because it just have one valve. Took them out to clean. But that's just sort of a precaution. And the less a valve is used, I'm not sure I understand this, but the less a valve is used, the more frequently it needs to be oiled.
That's probably because maybe the oil evaporates.
Or coagulates, maybe. I don't know for sure. I don't think there's anything in this particular oil that would harden.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it to be outstanding. And I have no idea what it costs because the man just said. They're not working rapidly enough yet. They need a little breaking in, I guess. That one is hanging, and I suspect it's a matter of adjustment right here.
Go on the tight side on
Well, the wrong place. It's still a little hangy, and it may just have to, may need to be just used a little while, because I can't. Okay, I think I can see it. I believe it's all right. It would eventually work in.
That's so.
I need third back. Sure makes it slow, doesn't it? Have to stop. Now, what we need to do is remove the. This one's still slugging, and I'm not sure why. Let me try something. It's made, but to be the opposite to what I want. idea. It might be that by using the short string, we may have third valve again. I'm sorry. We're just going to have to get that fixed. It's beginning to free up a little bit. You can play the more rapid passage. I forgot. You see my finger goes down. You really have to think of what using third valve. I think that with not a lot of expense, we could make one. I'm talking when I say not a lot of expense. Well, if I triple what I think it'll cost, it might cost $25. I think $8 or $9 would buy the part for this.
Well, that would be worthwhile fixing.
I'll make a deal with you. Next time I'm going down to the man that could make it, I'll swing by and pick up this piece and show it to him and see what he thinks. And while
You could, well, I'll tell you what you could do if you want to take it off now, see what he says about it, and then you can always put it in the mail back to him.
I'm thinking that I might just take my instrument down. I know mine's identical to this now. Take my instrument down and say, make one of these.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it might look a little bit different, but I'm certain that we could make it function. They'd take the two of us a day's work. And my pay for that day's work would be a good cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee, well, we could afford that.
But this is a fine example. There is some evidence that I've come up with, and that's a photocopy of an original drawing made by Adolph Sax. This is identical to the ones he made. Mine is. And I think these are exactly the same. I would make a suggestion. My keys were making uncomfortable. The metal content here seems to be allergic to Scotch tape. And in a while, this will start to discolor permanently. Yeah. The worst thing that you can do to instruments is what the man that got me started collecting, he put masking tape on every instrument. And I cannot remove it.
It just makes a scar on the metal.
I can't remove the tape. It's that permanently stuck. You know, masking tape on certain materials, it's just impossible to remove.
Yeah. I try, maybe you have a refined regular mineral spirits, paint in them.
I think that has a tendency to see the issue that some of them are woodwind instruments. And the brass instruments, you can, except Scotch tape. I don't mean Scotch tape, certain brands of cellophane tape. You can remove it with a very mild abrasive. But some of them just become a part of the metal. The craft paper is a marvelous abrasive. You can just take it and rub like this, needle that thing and blow it for you. Yeah, it's a very, very mild abrasive. This one gets stubborn again. Okay, I just discovered something. When I pushed down on this, it freed it. So I tightened this a little bit. Lovely sound, isn't it? Yeah.
A lot better sound than I thought of it.
Yeah, it's between the sound of a trombone and a baritone. And I think the primary, there's no way we'd ever prove it, the primary reason is the conical nature of the tubing. Because the trombone is largely cylindrical until it gets to the bell area.
Well, you're talking about the change in the
Change in the size, yeah. See this, if you measured here and here internally, you would find that this is slightly, very tiny, bit larger diameter inside than this. And then here it remains the same size, going through the valves, with the exception that, where's my pointer? Sometimes this will be larger than this. This will be a little bit larger than this. Gradually conical here. And you can tell by looking that this gets larger and larger. Looks like the beginnings of a crack, doesn't it?
Sure does. Yeah, it's cracked or scratched.
I can feel it dropping the screwdriver. But it almost isn't discernible. But if you've got a paper sack, I'll just show you what I mean by that.
Oh, and where you're taking all the green.
We take a little bit of the green, and you can see the green.
And that's just
patch.
craft paper sack that you're polishing with.
Now I got a fresh place. See, this got the green on it. Now it's got it on there. You have to use a lot of paper sack. You're rubbing it so much that I can feel the heat. Now you're getting, each time we change positions, a different piece of paper, we're getting less. And I can get 150 instruments in it.
So what range of instruments do you have? Are they all brass?
No, they're about 45% woodwinds, 45% brass, and the remaining 10% mixture of various and sunny things. A few strings and a couple of percussion instruments.
Oh,
Yes. Well, I have a couple of violins, an old instrument called a violin uke, and some other things like that. And then there's the one behind me that, like, the auto harp or the zither. I can't tell till I get closer.
well,
It's not an auto harp.
that's what it's called, zither.
Yeah,
But whether I don't know what it is or not.
it's a zither. When out of the corner of my eye, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I know you're not supposed to touch things, but I can find out a great deal what it is. It was in a fire once.
What's that?
It was in a fire once.
It looked to me like it might have been a fire off the top. Yeah. With finish too. So.
Yes. That damage to the finish could be not from a fire, but prolonged period in the sun. Oh, now I think the smoke, this, could be possibly from a fireplace. If it was in exactly the right position so that it would settle on here, or it could be from a fire.
Yeah.
But this looks more like prolonged time in the sun.
Visit from Dr. Ernest Kirk from Maryville College in St. Louis, Missouri, who has a PhD in musical instruments, who looked at our sax horn, and he's going to repair it. It is one valve missing, a lever missing, and he played us a little concert and showed us what it is and told us its history.
And it's made from alloy called German silver. It was designed by a Belgian man named Adolf Sax, who also invented the saxophone, which bears his name. The bell plays over the shoulder for the song to the military marches to the rear. 3 lever keys operate the valves tied with the linen cord. The third valve needs repair, rather. And this horn is in fine shape and is rare and still very much playable. The frame photos in front here show the sax horn owner, Herman Schunke, and with his steam engine. He had his own band at the time and traveled to various towns on a bandwagon pulled by the steam engine. And the band played for picnics and dances and at the area at the turn of the century, which was in around 1890 or 1900. And there's a little arrow here that points to Mr. Schunke. And the instrument was appraised by Dr. Paul Kirk, who's a professor at Maryville College.
This is the entrance to the museum, and this is our new military display case that was just completed yesterday and today in installation. It was built by Norman Thayer Company and designed by Arvil Wrigley, and Arvil will explain to you this case.
Well, the purpose of this case is to display military uniforms, and we plan on having the various services, the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, from time to time, and the uniforms and display will be changed from time to time. We have storage at the bottom on all three cases, and at the far end over here we have the wardrobe, which is a storage for uniforms that are not on display and for various paraphernalia in regards to the military. The case is made of, well, I got to think what wood is now. I still don't know what that is. Birch. It's birch plywood veneer. And it's painted an olive white inside so that we can get a better idea of, make the uniform stand out better, whatever we display better.
Where'd the money come from for this case?
Money came from the veterans of foreign wars in Collinsville, from the American Legion Post in Collinsville, and
Their auxiliaries contribute? Their auxiliaries contributed, right?
auxiliary contributed as a Marine Corps League. The total cost was $3,890 installed as we stand here right now. And it's a very fine job. Mr. Thayer did an excellent job. And I think it's going to serve our purpose real well. Not much else I can tell you about it, except that we do have additional shelves to go in here if we want to use the shelving system from some time or other. There are shelves in the bottom, and the bottom is going to be for storage too, for probably military paraphernalia.
Well, it locks, doesn't it?
The lock, yes.
Mm-hmm.
We have an excellent locking technique.
And there are plate glass doors.
Tempered glass doors, and they are on rollers. And they roll and close very easily. And it has a locking system, like they have on most glass door covers. And you don't even need the key to lock them. They're all three the same way. The inside, we've got to get shields for the light, so that the light doesn't harm the uniforms. But that's a minor problem there.
Well, show me that storage unit on the end again down there.
Oh, down in this end here, we have a storage point, which I call the wardrobe, which I guess that's about the only thing to call it. But that is where we can store uniforms that were not going to be on display at the bottom here. And at the top, we can store hats or what
Well, that's great.
have you up at the top end. And we're probably going to load this up before too long.
And we're going to change these displays for the various service organizations.
I'm sorry?
We're going to change these displays, like for Air Force, Army, Navy,
Yes, we're going to
periodically.
change the display from time to time. So not everything will be in here at the same time. We're just going to change them off. maybe we might have a Civil War uniform on one end and the World War I maybe here and World War II maybe here at one time or other. And we'll also plan on going back to the Army, Navy Day.
I'm sorry about the delay. I thought we'd have a few more people. We do have some people coming in. We'll go ahead with our dedication this afternoon. On behalf of the Friends of the Collinsville Historical Museum, I welcome each and every one of you. We're glad you're here. This is a very important day for the Collinsville Historical Museum. Today, we dedicate the new military display case, which is located here on the lower level, just to the right of the museum entrance. We're grateful to the library board for granting permission for its placement there. And as I look over this group, I see many visitors and guests, and we're glad you're here. Especially we welcome and honor the veterans organizations that generously contributed their financial gifts toward the construction of the military case. Collinsville VFW Post 5691 and its auxiliary, Collinsville American Legion Post 365 and its auxiliary, and the Collinsville Marine Corps League. We'll hear a few words from all of these people a little later in the program. So all things are ready. So at this time, I ask you to stand for the presentation of the colors by the Color Guard of the American Legion Post 365. We remain standing and pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag. You may be seated. In the year 1976, the Collinsville Women's Club and the Daughters of the American Revolution were looking for a suitable project to honor the 200th birthday of our country. Lucille Stamen suggested and encouraging the establishment of a good historical museum for Collinsville here in the library as a suitable project. A small beginning had been made. Irving Dillard had done a good job in getting things together, and a small grouping of a valuable collection that soon would grow. So through her guidance and her endeavors, and Irving Dillard's patience guidance, and his historian-type background, the museum has grown to what it is today. The museum has a fine Collinsville history display and educational files that are constantly being updated and growing with the community. And it's through Lucille's determination and hard work and the guidance of people like Irving that we have this fine museum. And the Friends of the Museum are grateful to both of these people. In the spring of 1989, Virginia Gillespie was the president of the Friends of the Museum. And at a board meeting, Lucille Stamen suggested the need for a fine military display case with support by the veterans organizations of the city of Collinsville. This would be fitting since this building was dedicated in 1937 as a memorial public library. In 1939, a bronze tablet was placed at the entrance and dedicated to the Collinsville war dead of World War I. In 1948, another bronze tablet was dedicated to the council war dead of World War II. And since then, another bronze tablet has been placed honoring the dead from the Korean and Vietnam conflicts. And so it came to pass that now it is right and just that we here today dedicate a military cabinet placed in this memorial library and dedicated to all those valiant war dead. The case was designed for our needs by Arthur Wrigley, constructed of birch wood and glass by Norman Thayer. And in August of this year, it was completed and installed. We couldn't have accomplished this task without the help of our veteran friends and their support of this project. Letters were sent asking for help and support, and the VFW Post 5691 and its auxiliary immediately responded by planning 4 Sunday afternoon dances during the month of August in 1989, and they donated the proceeds towards the military case. The American Legion Post 365 and its auxiliary and the Collinsville Marine Corps League followed with their generous financial contributions. Friends of the museum added the final additional amount of money, and so the case was built. Dr. David Huntley, the director of the museum at SIU Edwardsville, assisted greatly with the preliminary planning. Our thanks to him for helping us. And Mr. Ray Costello, retired display director for Sears Roebuck and Company, has executed the uniform display in the military case for the museum open house, and we extend to him our thanks. Our thanks to Osborne Cleaners for donating their services for cleaning and repairing the uniforms. And so, my friends, these helping hands, these gestures of support for the museum are very gratifying in these trying times. A grant was received from the Madison County Arts Council and the Illinois Arts Council, which helps make this dedication and open house possible. We must remember that the past is a dream and tomorrow is a vision. What we do here is for all mankind to see and for future generations, and we must learn the lessons from the past for the foundation of the future. We must get involved in history because it is a vital part of what it means to be human. It is gratifying to see all of you here today because you want to be involved in history. So we're going to take a few moments and hear from our supporting veteran organizations who helped the museum in this military case project. And at this time, I'd like to present to you Mr. Chuck Michaels, the Public Relations Officer of VFW Post 5691, who will represent the post and its auxiliary and say a few words. Chuck?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor for me to represent veterans of Army Corps. That is required. You notice I use the word memorial twice. I've lectured in almost every school around here on flag dedication. So many times, students come to me and say, my dad or my granddaddy was in war for people to talk about it. That's sad, because our people don't know what water is. I suggest that you talk to your sons and daughters, them, talk to their sons and daughters, come down here, look at this case down here, this war stuff that's on right there. Because our younger people don't know what war is about. It isn't fun. Get a lot of veterans here. They'll not have no story to tell you now. The old minister was doing his best to teach his flock. He stole the money, worked totally. 5, thou shalt not kill, thou wilt be murdered. Finally, that evening, after finishing preaching, my little Johnny, Reverend, I still don't understand what the part's all about. Reverend looked at him and said, Johnny, fuck. He had it before it back out to the church. Johnny, these were the Marines, combat veterans, died in service. Time to come out for the war. He said, Reverend, which service? The morning service or the evening service?
Thank you, Chuck, very much. I asked you when I called you to come up here and use the microphone if you're not afraid of it. It helps a bit, I think. To speak for the American Legion Post 365, I'd like to call on Mr. Jesse Hoskins. Jesse, come up here.
I don't know if I really need this. I'll probably break it. Pete Coccarelli is our commander, and he sends his regrets. He could not be here. He had to be out of town today, so he asked me to speak in his stead. Something like this, following the same vein that he was going, children today do not know anything about what war or hell war is. It's like this. And something like this will remind them. I was reading the back of this, and I think these are reading again. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. And it's about our flag and respect for that flag and what that respect means. That respect will be shown. What that respect will be shown in this display that you've got here. All of the young men and women that gave their lives to defend this country and its way of life, this flag depicts. And this will teach them that. We had the Second World War, and I'm speaking from my generation. We remember the Second World War in Korea, and then when I came along, there was Vietnam, and, people did not understand war even then. But there was respect. Because people had something to go to draw from. And I think this is one of the greatest things that has happened in a long while. And I hope that you use it and you encourage your young people to use it. And just come out and let them see what it's all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Representing the American Legion Auxiliary, I'd like to call on Mary Greek. Our President, Mary Cromer, couldn't be here today, so I bring you greetings from the Auxiliary 365. Our purpose in the Auxiliary as far as the veterans and the veterans' families. And we also do community service. I'm proud to say that we were a small part in this donation to the museum, and I hope in the future we can do more. I'm also proud that my former son-in-law's uniform is in this display, and my granddaughter, I know she appreciates it. So again, from the auxiliary, thank the committee for doing such an excellent job. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Representing the Council Marine Corps League is Charles Rink. Charlie?
Good afternoon. I'm also very happy to represent our league. We're a small organization. Good things coming. But I'm happy that the insight of the friends of the museum materially considered this military display which we're going to see today. We thank this committee very much for this, and for the museum itself, for the preservation of the history of this great town. There isn't too many towns in
this size and at the museum matches this museum. We need to encourage our youngsters to come down here, really learn history. It's here. History can't be fun. It does not have to be boring. I thank you all for coming, and I thank the museum again for making a way to have some recognition made to those veterans that are not able to be with us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. For the Friends of the Collinsville Historical Museum, let us hear from Lucille Stamen. Lucille?
Well, this is a glorious day, really, for all the members of the Friends of the Collinsville Historical Museum. I go back a long way with it, and I can recall the many times I put lists of donations to the museum in the paper. I typed many, many lists, and with doing that, our gifts were really coming in after that, because people would read this and they'd think, well, I have something maybe that the museum would like. So I know I sat and tried to think how we could have a little more room. And I also have thought a lot about veterans through the years, and I thought, gee, it would be wonderful if we could have a case outside our door that would be just for veterans things, and it would give us a little more room inside. Well, I said something to Florence Burkholder, the librarian, and I asked her if she thought that that could be possible. And she said, well, now, Lou, you have to ask the library board first. But she said, I think it's an excellent idea, but you would need to have their permission. So this was before Virginia was installed. I started to make a few phone calls. I called Mr. Thayer, who I knew had done a lot of beautiful work here in the library, and I asked him if he could give me any idea how much a case would cost. He said he'd have to have a plan, he'd have to know how big it would be and all that. He would guess $2,000, $3,000. And so I made, before we did anything else, I made a call to Mr. Berg of the VFW, and then I tried to get hold of the president of the head of the American Legion, but I was never able to make contact there. But I did know from Mr. Berg, he said, we would really support something like that. So that's about as far as. And then I wasn't president anymore. So I know that Virginia right away, when we had our first board meeting, she said, well, we're going to get on the ball about this case. And she appointed a committee. She appointed Mr. Wrigley, who did a wonderful job designing the case. She had someone send out letters about it. And then Floyd has followed through so beautifully with all his decorations and all his displays and all that we have to be very proud of this case. And in fact, the whole museum today, we must be very grateful for all the time that's been put in to this the last few weeks. And Floyd, I do think you've done a really wonderful job. I do want to, because of Mary Nash, I would like to straighten out something that was in the paper the other day, that the Civil War uniform was never really owned by the museum. And I'll tell you how we happened to get the Civil War coat. I was going to give a talk on Glenwood Cemetery, and I asked Mary Nash if she wouldn't come to hear us. And we knew we had almost 100 Civil War veterans buried in this old cemetery. So Mary said, well, my grandfather won the Congressional Medal of Honor. And I said, well, that's wonderful. So we'll pick you up, and you bring his uniform or his coat and his Congressional Medal of Honor and show it, talk after you may see. So Mary did that. But she took the uniform home with her. And she kept it home with her because she had to find out if her daughter wanted to give it. And I'm sure that this was something that Mary was very proud of, and she didn't know if she wanted to give it away or not. But I would ask her every time I saw her, "Are you going to give that uniform? We would have coat." And she'd say, "Oh, I think so, but I don't think you're going to get the Congressional Medal of Honor." So anyway, then Mary moved, and I before she could move, I didn't get to talk to her about it. I did call her afterwards. In fact, I called her 2 times and written her once. We finally got it this year, so we've never really had it before. And but we did have, and I'm afraid that maybe that's what was thought of when this story was said, that she had given us the uniform and took it back. We did have a lady that gave us a uniform, an Army uniform of World War II, a couple of years ago. And this uniform, she wanted on display right away. And you know, museums they really can't promise you they're going to have something on display at all times because they have to change their displays. So I know we weren't sure we even wanted to keep it. It would have so many moth holes in it. So anyway, she was very unhappy because it wasn't on display, and we finally let her take it back. So that might be the uniform that was recalled at that time. But I think it is so wonderful to have this Civil War uniform, and I really think that the city has to be very proud of their veterans, and I think that everyone in the city has been proud of them for many, many years, because the reason the library was called Memorial Library was because the Royal Purple Temperance group in town sold their building, which was right where the post office is now. It was a frame building, and the older people might remember it. It was used as a community room. And these people said when they sold the building for $4,300, they said they wanted the money to go to the library, and it was to be for a memorial to the veterans of World War I. Now, I am writing an article about mining, and I just came across a little article that said bids were wanted to sell this building, and so that was in 1918, December 1918. The ad was in the paper. Bids were wanted. So the building was sold. About $4,300 was given to the library at that time. So really, to the veterans, we honor you today, and I'm very happy to be any part of this memorial.
Thank you, Lucille, for all of your kind, informative remarks, and we want to thank you publicly for the writings in the paper about the miners. Everyone is looking forward to those weekly, and I know all the effort that goes into it. I see you upstairs doing your research, and it's wonderful that you're doing this, and it's kindling the interest in history and the interest in Collinsville, and you deserve praise, and you're getting it now. There's another friend of the museum that it's appropriate to hear from now, and that's our man of letters and our historian, Mr. Irving Dillard. Irving?
Lloyd, I'm glad that you referred to Lucille's articles on the miners and Collinsville history, because I wanted to shift a little bit away from the present reason, call attention to something that relates to, especially since we're all sitting here in this room at this time. Some of you saw me shift that coat rack a while ago. I'll now tell you why. Because when reference was made to the fact that the display case for the military uniforms was outside of the museum proper, and permission needed to be obtained for doing that. I'm now extending the museum in a sense out into this room, because the reason I moved that case over was so you could see a painting by Josephine Bernhardt Dunham, who was for many years a marvelous teacher in our high school, and who also was for many years on the board of the Collinsville Memorial Public Library. Josephine Dunham. Some of you may not know where she is now. She's over in Swansea at a place called Rosewood Care Center. The last time we went in there to visit her, she took down had her assistant who cares for her part of the time, take down off the wall that painting. She called it her peony. And she gave it to me to take home because she appreciated the things I'd done and said for her. Well, I took it home, of course, and I took it home to bring here from the library for permanent display. And for a while it was on the upstairs, but there it is, Josephine Bernhardt Dunham. And she's done a lot of fine artwork over the years. Anyway, that's why I moved the rack on the golf. I wanted to see that. I appreciate very much the things that have been said by Floyd about various others who have helped here, like all that Lucille has done. One person who hasn't been mentioned is Arlo Rigdon. I now give a special tribute to him because he is a workman of superior kind, absolutely superior, and he has done so much for the museum room. I want you all to somehow or other take notice of him. I don't know that you're going to be called on to stand up until I do it right now, so stand up. I'm sure that nearly all of you saw in the Herald this page about the museum and the uniform and so on. My understanding is that while it was a fine effort in a lot of ways, there are some mistakes in it, so don't believe just everything. But let's check on being accurate about certain things. Now then, I want to call attention to a name, a lady's name that you won't get most of you until I give it to you right now. But I lived as a small boy up on Church Street. My grandmother and grandfather lived over on the northeast corner where the high-rise apartment house is. And I therefore was across the street from the Reed family, R-E-E-D, the Reed family, the street that goes down to where the old railroad station used to be, is Reed Avenue, named for them. And the Reeds were people, that family had in its organization a member of the Collins family. And so I remember distinctly when the Reed Collins family, what was left of it, went out to California and left Collinsville and left their home. I went across the street and tell them goodbye, and I was just a schoolboy at the time. I tell you that because it's somehow or other registered with one member of the family by the name of Emily Steeg, S-T-E-E-G, that was the last name, Emily Steeg, and she married a man named James. They lived out in California and then moved to, with the members of the family went out there. Then they moved to Denver. And one time, Emily Stagg realized that these things that had gone out to California ought to come back to Collinsville. So she put in a trunk a lot of memorabilia of the Collins family, photographs, letters. One of them was married to a very famous minister by the name of Solomon Giddings, and so on. All of those things got into a trunk. And they were brought, that trunk of those items, brought here and put in my hands many, many years ago. And then what happened was that I took good care of that until it came possible to do something about storing it here in a proper way. So that's how the trunk and its holdings got to Collinsville and how they were placed here. Now then, I want to say one other thing off the subject, if I may. But I always believe in sharing something that will interest other people. My daughter, Mary Sue Chesky, who teaches library courses up at SIU, she and her husband and their boy were up in Toronto not long ago, 3 months or so ago. And while they were there, they went through a museum. And they saw sculpture work by a sculpture artist by the name of Florence Weil, W-Y-L-E, Florence Weil. They especially interested her, Mary Sue, was when she saw that this lady was born in Trenton, Illinois. Now, I'm sure all of you know that if you go out of Lebanon straight out, Main Street, so to speak, you go right on to Trenton in just a few miles. And that's where this lady was born. But nobody around here knew it. Nobody in Trenton knows it. We went over to see Karen Koch, who cares so much about the history of the area and of course of her home community. She had never heard of this lady, Florence Weil, who was a sculptor. This was work. The reason was after she grew up, they left Trenton and went up to Waverly, Illinois, near Springfield. And then they went from there. She got interested in sculpture work, wound up in Canada, and lived most of her life in Canada. I tell you that simply because I think you'll be interested in knowing something that we didn't know until, you might say, yesterday. And it's a fascinating story. Florence Weil, native of Trenton, Illinois, famous sculptor in Canada. One other thing from history, Floyd hasn't called attention to it. He handed me the other day something he had just brought back from Germany, Berlin. And what he says that is a little piece of the Berlin Wall. I think everybody ought to have a chance to see a piece of the Berlin Wall, so I hold it up before all of you. It just happens that this meeting today is being held at the same time that the 25th anniversary of the Madison County Historical Society meeting in Edwardsville. I'm the senior living past president of that society, and after the dedication here, Dorothy and I will probably slip up to Edwardsville and wind up with their activity. So if we slip away without saying hello to everybody, that'll be the reason why. And thank you all very much for listening to me take you off the course a time or two. Thank you, Lloyd.
Thank you, Irving, for your wonderful words and historically bringing us back again to reality and all the good things that we don't remember that he does. And I was fortunate to be in Germany on October the 3rd for the signing of the papers for the unification. And I was fortunate to be standing there when some of the wall came down, and I saw it come down, and that's an authentic piece of the wall. We picked up some of the pieces and brought them home, and I knew Irving would appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to call on Marian Burrows, the president of the library board, to say a few words. Marian?
Half an hour before I arrived this afternoon, I was told that I had to make some presentations. So much for my presentation. Three awards today. First one is Kirk. It's in recognition of the outstanding service given by Irving Hilliard to the community of Townsville and specifically to the Townsville Historical Museum. I've known Irving for a long time. I heard Floyd say that it was the DAR and the Women's Club I did was the Historical Museum. I've got news for you. It wasn't theirs, it was Irving's. And I found out after working with Irving for these 45 years, he has devious ways of getting people to Anyway, Irving has worked long and hard for the library, for the museum. I've always said that next to his family, the Collinsville Library is Irving's first love, and I think his second love is the Collinsville Historical Museum. Irving also has another little private museum out there, his little room of all his goodies, and I hope that you will look through it and have him take you through a tour of his little museum. Irving? You can't eat this, but they're going to be free. Put it in your
Very much. Can you give us the word dubious? Who is dubious enough to arrange this for me? She said that museum person, I do keep putting things into it. She wanted to work. I have a lot of books down there that are described by the author. Of course, the nine from the author. Here's one on Pontiac. Again, famous Indian. And the author described it. And I'm going to put the different from.
Next is recognition of the outstanding service given by Lucille Stevens to the community of Collinsville, especially the Collinsville Historical Museum. Now, I know Lou has been instrumental in the foundation of the Historical Museum back in 1976, and also since the museum became an actual physical place. Lucille has worked hours, days, and weeks, and months in that museum. She has collected items, she's gone out and picked items, she's cataloged items, and all I can say is, I do not think the museum would be where it is today.
I do want to say, I don't take this museum thankfully or the museum, but we all in Irving do. But we started our organization and a lot of that.
Unity is the museum.
Thank you.
Is in recognition of the outstanding service given by Floyd Sperino to the community of Collinsville, especially to the Collinsville Historical Museum. Now, Floyd retired. Some retirement's all I got to say. He has been busy as a beaver. Every time I come up here, he's here, and many times when I come up here to do something at the library, I see Floyd and Mr. Wrigley buzzing around here doing things, getting everything accomplished. I don't know what we do without you.
Kind of overwhelming, but I hope you got one for Arbor. Yeah, because I could have done Arbor. But you know, Arbor and I are cousins. our mothers were sisters. And we have a rapport. We kick the idea around, and then he does the physical aspect and the woodworking and finishing, and I do the mental aspect. And it's a good team. I'm grateful for the fact that we are related, that we can give and take without any problem. But we're only trying to fill great big shoes of Irving and Lucille, which we'll never fill. But there's always a foundation to grow from. And my family has a motto, work, win. Give it your best shot. Now, Barbara and I said, we'll stay in here for 2 more years. But there's other things we'd like to do. We hope we can train people to step in and pick it up and pull up the bootstraps, continue. If we can only get this organization on the level, the caliber, of a fine memorial library that's housed. That's all we ask. So that we reach that level and stay. And we're trying to build on the foundation that's before us. And all we've done is just done our part. If everybody would do their part, we just grow, grow, grow. And I'm hoping that the community will take a better interest in the publicity that we have. Some of those things may not be authentic. That's the way it is in the museum. You ask, and you talk, filter, and find, and you sift it all, and finally you come up with the truth eventually. But we got an overall picture, and we tried to get the community interested in the museum. And all we can do is work to win. Thank you, I appreciate this very much.
I'm very glad that you and Barbara have so much energy. I know.
Thank you very much, Marion. That was a very big surprise. I really don't feel like I deserve that certificate. It should be torn in half and half given to Harville. Well, as you know, we're dedicating this cabinet today, and we're following it by a museum open house until 5 p.m. And I hope you will all take the time to truly visit the museum and see what it has to offer. There are new acquisitions and displays. It's our privilege today to have with us Mr. Preston E. Baggett of Collinsville, who is a World War II veteran who fought in the invasion of Omaha Beach in Europe. Mr. Baggett has brought with him today an interesting and extensive collection of war memorabilia from Omaha Beach, which is on display in the room with the military case. Mr. Baggett will be with the display to answer any questions you might have regarding the invasion. We're grateful to Mr. Baggett and his wife for coming with him, for bringing his collection and sharing it with us today. And you will find on display as you enter the museum our jewel, the Civil War coat of First Lieutenant Nineveh S. McKean of Company H, the 21st Volunteer Illinois Infantry, and this is a gift of Mary McKean Nash, formerly of Collinsville, now living in Omaha, Nebraska, who is the granddaughter of Lieutenant Nineveh McKean. He is buried in Glenwood Cemetery. We tried to find his grave, and someone said he doesn't have a stone. So I had talked to Charlie Rink, and I said, can we get him a stone? He said, sure. So I went over there, and I saw this stone that was bent, and I dug around it and found that it was practically buried. And finally, we cleared it so that you could read it, and he is buried there in the plot with the rest of the Nash family's stone. So he's right as a curve, and he is buried in Glenwood Cemetery. Lieutenant McKean received the Congressional Medal of Honor for his bravery in the Battle of Stones River, Tennessee, which was fought on December the 31st, 1862, and January the 1st and 2nd of 1863. He fought with the Army of the Cumberland under Major General Rosecrans in the battle against the Confederate forces under General Bragg. He was in charge of Carlin's Brigade, which over half of the men died. Stones River was one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War, during which thousands of men were killed on both sides, and 2,500 men were missing and unaccounted for. And also you'll find another new acquisition in the museum. We have a Civil War Model 1849 Colt pocket revolver manufactured in 1852, and this small handgun was found in a farmer's field near Lookout Mountain, Tennessee, at the site of many Civil War battles. This revolver was privately purchased during the war and carried by officers and enlisted men alike. A wonderful addition to our collection. Be sure to see it. If you need information or assistance in the museum, anyone wearing a red carnation can answer your questions for you. So at this time, I ask you to read together with me from the printed program, the Litany of Saints. We are this day gathered here for the purpose and privilege of dedicating a new military display case for the Collinsville Historical Museum.
It is for the case of what represents our tribute to the men and women that virtues we honor.
For God and country, brave men and women wore these uniforms of military service when they used the call to fight for justice and freedom. These policies we acknowledge by providing a place of honor for the emblems of valor and service used in the protection of our country.
Now, these things, that's what teach all generations the wisdom of the past and the glory of the future.
We dedicate today and for all future time this military case of honor. May it prove to the world and all who come there that we believe the world is great and loyal men and women, and their honor and their glory.
Yeah.
Military
Display case.
The VFW chaplain is unable to be with us this afternoon. Many of the VFW officers are attending a special event in Panama City, Illinois, and cannot be here. However, our closing prayer will be offered by American Legion chaplain, Mr. Oscar Schiller.
To our Father. We thank thee for having blessed us. Those honored their pleasure of people like you. This dedication also thank you for the people who made all of this possible. The individuals, the organizations, did all the work. It is only truly Jesus life. And on this occasion, we ask you to protect and bless those who are in the band, the Near East, the hardest of Persian help. Help them and protect them and bring them safe to us. As we read this page, may we do so with the feeling that we will honor our veterans, and hopefully this display case can be used to remind citizens to have a place for veterans to gather their reminisce and find our fire. And please, this memorial, the memorial, may we all take home the feeling that we are proud of our nation.
Thank you, Oscar. Thanks to each and everyone who helped in any way to make this afternoon successful. Refreshments will be served in the rear of the room immediately after this dedication. We ask that you please enjoy your refreshments only here in the King's room. Everyone is invited to visit the museum, which is open until 5 p.m. I ask you to remain standing as we retire the color. Thanks to all of you. This concludes the dedication program.
My data was it's I've got about 4 or 5 of them.
You have to make another one now for Mr. Wrigley.
No problem.
Okay, and,
You know, also when you have a speak on the board. Yeah. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that he does it.
you have to stay and take pictures. It wasn't easy. It's got apathetic and sides. Marmalade here.
I got studied to replay.
Hi. You did a good job out of her. Charlie. Whoa.
Like those pictures.
It's you in right there.
That was been a white test over here. Like, this one, all that still,
Show me the train.
train, eat things. Don't touch. That's right. Don't touch.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for going in. Like I said, it's picking up that work. Like, do that down here as well as elsewhere. Might have to back to hold up. Cool. Okay.
Right, you can put your touch and everything here.
Charlie's got one.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. Yeah, I think that's good.
Be famous.
That's good one. I like.
You haven't seen that one day. I'm sure. God.
Down.
I did this. I like it.
Back again. Good shots.
Trying to. Did that show me the cold? That's it.
Am I in it?
You're in it.
Oh, great.
John, this is the Civil War pistol, the Civil War case. Found by a farmer in the field. Got one in Tennessee. That's the rest period. First mayor of Collinsville's coat and hat and his wife's coat and hat. Elected first mayor in 1872, John Becker. Beaver skin hat and broadcloth coat. The miners' display. Miner's bucket. Good helmet. Miner's tools. Victorian velvet brocade cape. Fireman's display. J.A. Christ Hardware cast iron cash register from 1886, made by National Cash Register Company. The Irving Dillard Room.
of the time here. What's he up here?
About ready to close shop.
I got a picture of the room, and now I got a picture of Irving. How's that?
Why don't I stand by the room?
Why don't you open that room up and let me in there?
Well, I just closed up the key. Herbert has the key.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll let you stand over there, okay?
All right.
Great. Well, that's really great, Irving.
Thank
Enjoy you, and I enjoy your room.
Yeah, you got so many interesting things.
Enjoyed your talk today, Irving. Like all those little tidbits, especially about Trenton, where my grandmother was born. This is Irving's office.
We went up to the,
Got a lot of books and some wonderful cartoons.
and they got there about 15 minutes before it.
Irving Dillard, a man of letters and our historian for the Historical Museum of Collinsville. A lot of memorabilia in Irving's office.
Okay. Put all our kids. I was using mine and my body was broken. They up. And he said, stop. Don't cross it. It's just going on. I said, okay, that. Oh, my. We had to take up all.
Police say the man tried to keep warm by huddling under cardboard. Authorities say the victim was carrying papers that indicated he had served in the U.S. Navy.
The men and women who once served their country in the military were honored on this weekend before Veterans Day. News Channel 5's Ruth Ezell reports on some of the Veterans Day observances right here in the Bi-State.
The Veterans Day parade in downtown St. Louis included more than 130 units from different branches of the armed forces. Perhaps because of the morning chill, not many spectators were on hand. But people who did show up said the weather is no excuse.
My sons are veterans, so yes, very